Hi people, welcome to our special look ahead to the UK Open Darts starting this Thursday here on Sports World. The UK Open Darts is known as the FA Cup of Darts because anything does and usually does happen, Dave, and it's always an explosive 4 days in Bolton.
Yeah, people wouldn't want to be under the illusion that although a lot of the big guns in darts have actually won this tournament over the years, a lot of shocks can happen in the tournament. We've seen some incredible people get to the finals of the tournament, and I have to give special mention to an absolutely legendary character from the United States of America, Gary Mawson, who shocked the world a couple of years ago. He was the one that looked like Rafa Benitez. He really got the support behind him in Bolton, and even managed to have a shocking war of words with Sky Sports analyst Rod Harrington. It was incredible, and that has to go down as my all-time favourite UK Open.
Yeah, he was taking no shit off Harrington. Harrington, in my opinion, just talks way too much because Harrington's not up there with Eric Bistro. Harrington doesn't have the right to talk about people and the way Eric has the right to talk about people.
Well, I mean, that was also the tournament where Barney and Taylor had an absolute epic battle in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and them two had great matches in both in over 3 years. Like, Barney beat him 3 years in a row in the quarterfinals. There's some epic confrontations between these two.
It is the toughest day of darts. It's widely acknowledged that the final day is the toughest day of darts. It's very grueling. Fitness levels need to be at the top of their game. It takes so much out of these players that if you win the UK Open, you've fucking earned it.
Yeah, but no, even more pressure's been added onto the UK Open as we don't actually start in the first round anymore, Dave. We're going to start in the preliminary rounds. So you actually have to win a game on the night to actually get to the first round proper. Best of 7 legs. First of 4. Very short format, Dave.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, Ger. I love the short format. A lot of the longer formats bores the pants off me, to be quite honest with you. I don't like when it goes best of 17 legs and so on. So I love the short format. This is where the shocks can happen. And just give the listeners a little rundown of some of your highlights of what's going to go down here in Bolton on Thursday night.
Well, you look at the preliminary round, there's some players in the preliminary round that were destined for great things that never really accomplished anything. You look at someone like Kevin McDine, he's in there with Kirk Gordon of Scotland, like, that looks a very, like, I don't really know much about these guys, so I'm not going to act fake like much people would say, oh, I know about this fella, that I don't, because that's what's so interesting about it. You look at Hydrite, The Undertaker, the fella that nearly beat Adrian Lewis out of the World Championship, he's coming in as the preliminary round as well there, so you have Brian Woods in there as well. You have Ted Hankey, Mark Lawrence, and people will know Mark Lawrence from 3 years ago where he beat Colin Lloyd. You have Adrian Gray going up against Steve Ennis. That looks like the standout game of the preliminary round. Dennis Ovens and all is in there, Dave, and he is not a bad player. And your old favourite John Henderson is in the preliminary round as well. So to come out the preliminary round is going to be no easy feat at all.
And don't forget, Ovens has experience. He got to the final a couple of years ago, so you know, it's a tournament that really, in my opinion, brings out new stars as much as we enjoyed the Premier League. But, you know, this is the tournament where we get to see people that have not been on our screens since at least Christmas time at the World Championship. So it's going to be enjoyable to see fresh faces. I just hope Sky Sports do the coverage justice and don't focus it on the big guns in the early rounds. We know they're going to be there or thereabouts in the later rounds. The Thursday and Friday night broadcast should all be about uncovering new stars and darts and giving people the profile, because they've worked very hard to qualify for this tournament. They've had to battle it out in qualifiers all over the country. So I really believe they deserve the television spotlight on the Thursday and Friday. I have no problems with them switching it to the big guns then on Saturday and Sunday. But I just hope we don't get a situation where we have all the big names on board one in the early days. That never interests me.
Of course, people will know Connie Finnan has withdrawn from this tournament through personal reasons. I know myself, but I'm just not going to say him here. But if I had to pick one player out of the Premier round to watch, Dave, it would be this young fella, Tone Green. I've seen him on the floor before when I used to be on the circuit. He used to have very big weight problems. He's after losing a bit of weight. He's still a bit of fat, don't get me wrong, but this player can throw darts. And there was a time that in Holland he was playing as good as Bangor and he had a class in a band before. This guy is my man to watch in this Premier round.
Yeah, but as I say, like, the history books say that anything can happen in this UK Open. I mean, it's completely open draw. And I just love it. I really do like the way the rankings don't come into play, and you have to be on top of your game over the short format, because if you're not, you will be knocked out. And big names have fallen, and they probably will fall again this weekend.
Yeah, and of course a call out to our country boy Liam Kelly that comes in the preliminary round as well, the UK Open. That brings us on to first round proper, and this will shock a lot of people of this show. Paul Nicholson comes in this round after a very unperforming year in the UK Open qualifiers. He's been producing on the floors in normal ranking tournaments, but the UK Open qualifiers, he hasn't been that impressive, and this show is coming in the first round.
I've said before about Paul Nicholson, the asset, whatever you want to call him. He's been talking a lot of trash the last couple of years in professional darts, but hasn't been able to back it up what's been going on the hockey. He got a real rude awakening at the World Championship, losing to Kim Huybrechts, and totally outclassed, I have to say, on the night. So hopefully Nicholson now will start to realise that the way to win darts games is to get it done on the hockey and talk less crap off it. It's great for Sky Sports, don't get me wrong. It feeds into them being able to put thousands of video packages together, but at the end of the day, it doesn't do any good for Paul Nicholson and his development as a darts player. If he is going to break through and become into that upper echelon that he claims is his destiny, he'd want to take a leaf out of the book of some of the greats that have played the game in the right spirit, played the game in the right manner, and that's how he's got to proceed now in 2012.
Yeah, Paul Nicholson really needs to improve and stop with all the mouth and start proving it on the hockey, because I think he is actually a good player that can actually go a bit far in the game, but he is mouthing way too much. Very interesting. Wayne Jones as well comes in at this stage. People that watch Wayne Jones, he's a very solid player, Dave, and he will not be easy to beat.
No, he won't be. I have a huge respect for the Wanderer, and I really, again, he's always there or thereabouts. He always puts in good performances, and anytime he does get knocked out, he never disgraces himself. He always fights to the bitter end, and that's what makes him a very solid professional.
Yeah, if I had to pick a standout guy here, of course, the obvious thing is to go for Paul Nicholson. But I really think someone to watch here is a guy from Wales called John Farmer. He's a good young player that's coming up. He's a bit old, sorry for saying young, it's just the way I always say. But he's a good player. He does good stuff on the floor. He has a good reputation coming on the Wales, so he is someone to watch. Webb Starks is improving after what Mark Webster did a couple of years ago by winning the World Championship. It brought a lot of attention back to darts in Wales, and it's getting people talking. And John Farmer, he's a good player, Dave. I'm going to be one to watch in that first round.
I look forward to seeing how he gets on.
But now we get to the second round, and now a lot of big players are coming in, and we're going to start with someone that a lot of people have been talking about lately, but he has a lot to back up on, and that is Scott Rad. A lot of people have been saying that this guy is the future of darts. He had a good Grand Slam, he had a fantastic World Championship, but now, after all that dust is settling, now it's hard, Dave. Now people are expecting stuff off this young fella.
Yeah, he kind of caught a lot of people by surprise at the back end of last year. Performed very, very well. And you got to remember, he wasn't a professional at that stage. So he's since gone pro, I believe, and now he's really getting into it. So I do think he's got a very good throw on him. And I think he has the bottle that is needed to go far in this high level of darts with the bright sunlight of the Sky Sports cameras. So, again, depending on what way the draw goes for him, he could be one that could go far.
Yeah. Another fella to watch on the second round is Sean Griffiths. He's a former youth world champion. He goes up against Duchess Magaga Michaels. That would be a very interesting match. Sean Griffiths, a lot of expectation, actually got backing off Phil the Power Taylor, so it's going to be very interesting to see how Griffiths get on. He was in the UK Open last year. Let's call it a spade. He made a complete joke out of himself, getting destroyed 5-0 by somebody nobody even heard of. So Sean Griffiths has a lot to step up to the mark this year with Dave.
Yeah, and what about the Count Ted Hankey?
Well, Ted Hankey comes in the preliminary round, and Ted Hankey has a game against Danny Dustin. Now, the thing about Ted Hankey is that he is going to be put on the main stage, and there's going to be a lot of noise around that on the Thursday night, because the Thursday night is the noise night, because you have all the local players and the people coming to see their friends and family playing on the stages. So there's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of atmosphere when Ted Hankey is playing. And if this guy Danny Dustin brings a lot of support, that could get on Ted Hankey's nerves, because he doesn't have the best attitude, as we know, Dave.
Yeah, he doesn't, but I have to say I'm absolutely delighted that he's finally made the switch over from the BDO to the PDC. I believe Ted Hankey, as much as people might have different opinions on him, I believe he is box office in terms of you would actually tune in to see what's going to happen. He is quite a controversial character, and I think he brings a level of excitement to the game that is badly needed. I mean, the thing that people are saying to me that, I go to City West every year for the World Grand Prix, but people are saying to me now that, darts, it doesn't have that excitement factor. It's gone far too predictable with pretty much we know who's going to win the big tournament. So if Hankey can bring that excitement back, get us big talking points, I'm all for that, Ger. You know, I'm all for people that are going to break through. There's a bit of a glass ceiling at the top of darts, and let's hope that changes, because it is going to bring more people back to the sport.
Yeah, and of course, most people would know this that follow darts. If Hanky gets to the second round by winning these 2 games, he is going to be playing Morphy King, and that would be a very interesting match indeed.
Well, that's going to be very interesting, because both men, of course, were old school BDO guys back in the day, and
I meant by their attitudes.
Yeah.
You know,
it's definitely going to be must-see TV.
Another interesting thing about the second round is that James Wade, the world number 3, is actually entering the tournament at this stage. Very early on for James Wade, if you don't mind me saying that.
Yeah, and you know, Wade, he's won it a few times now, but I think, you know, I don't think he's going into it in the best of form, so I won't be predicting that he is going to retain his title.
And now, just to get into the top 32 in the order of merit, these are the people that are going to come in on the Friday at round 3. Raymond van Barneveld is ranked number 1, very interesting by that. Wes Newton's number 2, Phil Taylor's number 3. Then you have Terry Jenkins, Andy Smith, Michael Van Gorwin, Brendan Dolan ranked number 7, Dave. Justin Pike is coming in number 8. Number 9 is Simon Whitlock. Number 10 is Andrew Hamilton. And a big shot coming in number 11, Dave, is Kim Heisberg, if you can remember him from the World Championship.
Yeah, Kim Heiberg, I think he really was the star of the World Championship, and I thought he performed superbly, and I'm looking for big things from him this year, and I think UK Open could be the start of it.
And then number 12 is Dave Chisnell. Number 13 is Dean Winstanley. 14, Colin Lloyd. 15, Vincent van der Voort. And 16 is Robert Thornton. Very surprised to see Thornton still around there, Dave.
Yeah, but obviously he's getting the job done off the cameras, which is what it's all about, and that's how you get into the good seeding positions for this tournament. So Thornton plugging away on the off TV screens, but really, to be honest with you, Thornton, I don't think is ever fully adjusted to the TV screens and the exposure and the pressure. Needs to sort that side of his game out if he's going to break through and win championships. I can't see it happening personally.
Just to let you know, people, Order of Merit rankings, I'm just calling them out here as they're in front of me on the screen. They don't mean anything in the UK Open, because the UK Open is an open draw. Number 17 is Ian White. Number 18 is Michael Smith. Number 19 is Dennis Smith. Number 20 is Kevin Painter. 21 is Jamie Cavill. Number 22 is Joe Cullen. Number 23 is Mark Jones. And number 24, very happy to see back on our screens there, Dennis Priestley, because a lot of people thought the World Championship was the end of Priestley.
Oh, it's absolutely going to be a great treat to see Dennis the Menace back on our screens. He's a fantastic guy. I've met him in person. Top bloke, and we actually saw him throwing darts at an exhibition in Cork there a couple of years ago. What a night that was, and he's a true professional, and everything that's good about the game of darts is embodied in Dennis Priestley.
Number 25 is A.J. Lewis. Number 26 is James Hubbard. A lot of pressure on Hubbard as well, because yet again, he's masked now, Dave.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Adrian Lewis as well, because a lot of people are saying he's not living up to the moniker of the world champion. He needs to sort himself out. Don't know what's going on, but I tell you one thing, he's got his detractors, and a world champion should always be held in universal respect, and I don't think that's the case at the moment.
I don't think Lewis has played well since the 2011 World Championships. Even last year's World Championships that he won, he was still playing mediocre. Now everyone would say that's a sign of a great player if he can play mediocre with a World Championship. Maybe so, but still, he has not played well since that World Championship.
No.
Number 27 is Rich Burnett. Number 28 is Darren Webster. Number 29 is Richie Howard. Number 30 is Gary Anderson. Number 31 is John Part. And number 32 is Kevin Downing. They're your top 32 players, and they will come in the third round.
I just want to say one thing about John Park. Do not rule this guy out. He's absolutely lethal on the floor, and we all know he can do it on TV. He's held the biggest championships in professional darts. Very unlucky, in my opinion, to lose that classic match against James Wade at the World Championships. And, you know, things could have turned out a lot differently had he been able to get past them. But I have huge respect for John Part. I witnessed him beating Adrian Lewis in the World Grand Prix at City West in Dublin last year. He's a sound bloke, and I wish him all the best in this tournament. Really hope we see Part getting close in this championship.
Now, on May, and the last weekend in May, the last UK Open qualifier took place, and there was two on the one weekend, people, and the two results, the finals, were Terry Jenkins beating Andrew Hamilton 6-3, and Wes Newton beating Justin Pike 6-2. Can we go by that on anything, Dave, for people coming into this with form? Terry Jenkins, a lot of people are reporting, is coming back to some form.
Yeah, well, I'm delighted to hear that, because you're not going to meet any nicer guy at darts than Terry the Bull Jenkins, an absolute gentleman, and it's kind of been sad to see him go off the boil in the last couple of months. But yeah, I hope he's coming in good form, and I hope he's coming in knowing that this is the kind of tournament that will suit Terry Jenkins, and the fact that he doesn't fear playing anybody.
We have to give an honourable shout out to William O'Connor from Limerick in Ireland. He said he got a lot of people talking last year, but as much as I love Willie, a great time for him, he never really followed it up.
No, and he has been in a few UK Opens in the past, so he won't be suffering as much nerves as he would have, so hopefully that will help him overcome any of the obstacles he might find in his path here. But yeah, as you say, a lot of things were expected from him, but maybe there was a bit too much expectation placed on the young man's shoulders, but I think he will come of age eventually.
Yeah. If I just had to pick a match for round two, a match that's set in stone now, the match I'm really looking forward to Thursday night is Mark Hilton taking on Antonio. You know, the guy from Spain. Great player, fantastic score, and Mark Hilton is a player that's constantly coming up. I'm also looking forward to see Devon from South Africa as well.
Yeah, and he actually celebrated his birthday recently there, so happy birthday to Devon Peterson, a real star for the future, and seems to have a very good head on his shoulders, and seems to have a good camaraderie with Joe Cullen, and they seem to get on well, and it's good to, have training partners that you can have the banter with as well. So I think it's certainly Devon Peterson, a real star for the future, and seems to have a good head on his shoulder, not going to be led astray by, when he gets into these big money tournaments and possibly wins them, he won't actually let it fall through his hands.
Yeah, just to let other people know about other big players that are coming in the second round. Yellow Klassen will enter the stage, so will Colin Osborne, Peter Wright, Roland Schulten will come in, Mark Webster, Cole Stompy, Alan Tarburn. Cole Stompy, Alan Tarburn, they should be a good match. Alex Roy comes in at this stage, and Ronnie Baxter comes in at this stage. And Dave, just to get your thoughts on this, James Richardson will come in at this stage.
Yeah, I think James Richardson really shocked the world, it has to be said, by dumping out Raymond van Barneveld at the World Championships. But I'm delighted to see that he's going to be back on our screens this weekend, and I really hope that he can continue on from where he left off in the World Championships. It was just a great story, and he really came across as a very sound character when he was interviewed.
Yeah, and now just before we end this, I guess we might as well just take two looks, Dave. Who would be your favourite for this tournament?
I don't think you can back against Philip Douglas Taylor. I think he is going to be the man to beat in Bolton. But again, if I was to go for a dark horse, I'd go for Johnny Part.
Yeah, my dark horse would be Johnny Part as well. If he could really perform at the standard he could, I think the favourite would be Simon Whitlock, because Taylor has played well at the Premier League last year as well, remember people, and after that he fell down again. Now my problem with Taylor is the Premier League is a short format, but when he gets into the long formats out the UK Open, is that form back? I personally do not think so. So if I had to pick anyone for the UK Open, shockingly, I go for James Wade.
Yeah?
Yeah. And you know I don't like James Wade. I'm not a big fan of James Wade. I just don't think Taylor has proven. Like, even the finals night in the Premier League, that final against Whitlock, he looked very, very tired there. And if he gets into any match with someone on the Saturday, you're going to have to play 3 games, and then you're going to have to play 3 games again on the Sunday. And if he's going to be pushed, he's going to tire, I think.
Yeah, well,
I do not see Taylor leaving Bolton with the W.
Can't wait until we get to review it here on Sports World. sportsword4@gmail.com, the all-important email address, or leave a comment underneath the YouTube channel. But yeah, I just cannot wait for it. One of my favourite tournaments of the year, and especially the Thursday night, really is what darts is all about. Brings the passion from the local scene onto the major scene on TV, and hopefully Sky will do a good presentation of the lower card performers here.
I hope they don't do, just to point this out, I hope on the Thursday night they don't do what they did last year and cut off at 11 o'clock bang on while there was still games going on.
This thing needs to go on past midnight. You know, if this is going on past midnight, we deserve to see it go on past midnight. Shouldn't be any of this cutting off.
You know, they have enough channels, they have 4 fucking channels now, so there should be no problem if this has to go a small bit over time.
So they could even stick it on Sky Sports F1 if they're stuck for channel.
I don't think they're stuck for channels, but we will be back during the week, people, for your 2012 preview. Really looking forward to that day. So much interesting stories after breaking over the last week about this championship, and really Italy are in a pile of trouble. Cannot wait to talk about that.
Yeah, looking forward to our Euro 2012 special coming up here on Sports World.